And live from somewhere in sweltering Southern California, it's Saddle Up with Steve and Jay right here on Horse Racing World Channel. Joining me as usual, my podcast partner, Mr. Steve Pollack. Good evening, Steve.
Good evening, Jay. You're suffering a little bit with the heat down there. I am here as well. Um, you know, what are we going to do? We're going to get through the show. We're going to have a good show today. We got a lot to look forward to.
We absolutely do. It is a big weekend. It's Saratoga's big weekend, so there's a slew of grade ones. The Travers featuring Sovereignty. We'll be talking a little about that. We'll also be talking about the personal ensign stakes with Torpedo Anna and perhaps some worthy competitors for her. Not as many for Sovereignty, but Torpedo Anna, I think, has a competitive field to face.
She just hasn't been great this year, Jay. She was so much better last year. I really spent a little time on that race this morning, just trying to find something to play against her. I thought last time that she was going to get an easy pace scenario and that she might bounce back. She did, but looks like there's some other speed in there. I'd certainly be interested to see what you have to say. I didn't really come up with anything in my mind, but I'm kind of hoping that she wins the race and goes into the Breeders' Cup because I think that Baffert that just won here and won the big Philly Mare race here in Southern California would beat her on this track right now. I don't think she's the same filly as she was last year. What do you think?
I'm on the same page with you, Steve, and we will get to those details in a very short period of time. But first, let's recap the big events from last week. We covered two big races. We covered the Alabama from Saratoga, and we covered the Del Mar Oaks out here. And let's start with talking about the Alabama. I've got some video queued up for that, and for another race that I think sparked a little interest. That wasn't one of the big ones, but we're going to talk about that as well. I know you took some notice on that one. But first, it's the Alabama. So let's see how smoothly I can show the video without botching it to the minimum amount here. Okay, so I am going to hang on just a second here. Okay, we do that. No, that's not it. Hang on a minute. I know where it is. All right, there we go. So what I need to do is go here first, and then we go here, and this is gonna be smoother than last week, I promise.
So far, Jay, it's absolutely going great. You're ahead of schedule.
All right, and we're gonna pick up the Alabama, and we're gonna pick it up on the backstretch. So here we go, and uh, and now we will go to full screen mode before I start yapping about it. Down the backstretch. And Lacara trying to go as slow as possible, and she's doing it. 49 and 3 for the half. Nitrogen, her stablemate, a length and a half away. Another 3 back to Good Cheer, who's comfortable in third, and Margie's Intention is fourth, coming to the half-mile pole, 5 lengths off the lead. Now a little nudge for Kinsey Queen at the back of the field, joined by Queen Azteca. 113 and 1, Lacara.
Nobody really had any
Nitrogen
excuses in
turning
here,
up the
Jay.
pressure
LaCara
now as they
got her
start to
easy
sprint
lead. She
around the
was
far
really
turn.
done pretty early
Luis
in this
Diaz
race.
and Good
And
Cheer
I
being
thought
called
Good Cheer
upon
had
too.
every
She has
chance.
4 lengths to make up. Being
So to
motivated
me,
to
the
get
horse
after
that
the
I thought was
top
a
there,
good go against
Lacara.
before the race
And
started was
Nitrogen
Nitrogen.
looming large with a quarter of a
Again,
mile to
not a race
go.
that I was
Takes the lead
super
away from
excited about
Lacara
betting,
as Good Cheer
but you can see Good
angles
Cheer's
to
under
the
a
center
drive
of the
here, and
racetrack. Then Margie's
she's not
Intention
making up any
coming
ground
to
on
the eighth
Nitrogen.
pole, and it's Nitrogen in front by 2. Good
LaCara just stated.
Cheer is trying to run her down. These are the 2. Nitrogen still full of run with a 16th to go. She's shifting about, but maintaining the lead while going wide. Good Cheer opts to go inside. Nitrogen and Jose Ortiz to win the Alabama, presented by Keeneland Sales. Good Cheer was second. Margie's Intention third, and Lacara finished
I
fourth.
don't know. She looked like she was drifting in the stretch, but nothing very impressive there. And I don't know. I don't know. Right now, what I see with those 3-year-olds, you got to keep your eye on them. They'll get another race in before the Breeders' Cup, and maybe those horses can go forward. But I don't think we saw a Breeders' Cup Distaff winner in that race.
Well, Steve, I got to tell you this. I was pretty imp Lucara went right to the front and held got an easy lead. So Lucara certainly had no excuse. And then Nitrogen came right up to her, and Nitrogen had been running mostly on turf lately, and had that big 17 length win, and just kind of looked her in the eye and went by. It did seem to me like Good Cheer was laboring. Good Cheer broke okay. We didn't see the break. I didn't show that part, but broke fine, but then kind of lagged behind the other two, didn't want to go into it. But then when it came time for the big running, Steve, it seemed to me like Good Cheer was laboring to get on terms with Nitrogen, and it took her a while to do it.
Yeah, I tell you, I wasn't impressed with either one of them because they weren't running straight in the stretch. There's nothing special about the time. I don't know. Maybe, listen, she's a win machine, and still these young fillies you don't want to be too critical of because they can get better. You got to project them to get better. When these older horses are 4, 5, 6, and you get to these Breeders' Cup races, you just can't project them to run any better than their best race. Whereas you can still do that, I think, with a 3-year-old. I mean, that's one of the things that I've been successful with, or that I've had success with in the Breeders' Cup Classic with 3-year-olds. That maybe if you're looking at Ragozin or you're looking at Thoroughgraph, and they just haven't run as fast in numbers, but they are getting better. And then they run that 1 point new top, and then all of a sudden they're competitive. They get the right pace scenario, and boom, they're a winner. And that's happened a couple times. Authentic is the last one that I can remember that comes to mind. But the same thing can happen with these 3-year-old fillies. It's I don't like seeing when they're not running straight in the stretch, and it doesn't look like the second place horse is going on with it, but then she is gaining at the end. To me, the race was what it was. I don't know that it was a betting race, but we'll keep an eye on those horses going forward for sure. They can get better. But right now, I'm not real strong on any one of those horses coming out of that race for the Breeders' Cup Distaff.
Yeah, Steve, let me ask you this with Good Cheer. I mean, she was ran off 7 straight wins, I think it was, and then has lost the last two. This one was a close loss, but still second one not winning. Do you think maybe with Good Cheer needs more ground? I mean, it seemed like she was coming on at the end, but just was not a factor like at the top of the stretch where Nitrogen was pulling away.
Not going to get any more ground than what she got in that race. I mean, that's about the longest race they're going to run the rest of the year. Their only options are going to be shorter. The Breeders' Cup Distaff is only going to be a mile and an eighth. So I don't know that she's going to get that option. I don't know. I thought those were horses that were just kind of just okay. Again, a lot of what I go through is visual, and to me, I wasn't super impressed with anybody in that race.
I did think Nitrogen, considering that she'd been running on turf and has switched over to dirt, has maybe more upside than the other two, but time will tell.
Can't argue
And
with that.
yeah, so we'll see what they can do when they take on older, and I would think that all three might be in Breeders' Cup races, and we'll see which ones they enter. I mean, the Distaff's obviously the most likely one, but like you say, it's not likely in America that they're going to get much longer to run. So if Good Cheer really does need more ground, yeah, you're right, Steve. She's not likely to find it. And then the other race the feature race we talked about, the Del Mar Oaks. And Steve, I think you called that pretty well in terms of the top two contenders. I didn't think that thought process was going to hit the board from outside, but you had confidence in her, and she did quite well. We both like Lush Lips, and Lush Lips ran a big race. No surprise with a quality filly like that. So what was your impression on the Del Mar Oaks?
No, Let's ran the best race. So she just got absolutely stopped cold. She went from being what 2, 3 lengths off the pace to 6 lengths off the pace. And she had the momentum and lost the momentum, and then she got beat in the end. So, again, a lot of the Del Mar handicapping though is just what happened in that race. You've got to project who's going to get the right trip and who isn't. And Lush Lips was a short price, so no surprise to see her run second. And I think she certainly proved that she's perhaps better than the favorite, that maybe she should have gone favorite. But the classic case in the race was your horse that you had mentioned on this show, and you told me not to say much about this, but you did say that you thought this horse had a chance. And I tell you what, after the race, I went back and I watched some of the tapes on that horse, and I really feel like that was a good pick because I thought, man, sometimes I feel like I'm not the kind of guy that's going to say, Jay, I think you were taking a shot, and I don't think that horse had a quality enough to win. But when I went back and watched her races on tape, which I had done, and I just hadn't had an open enough mind, but that she had really run some nice races, and she got the right trip today. And I got to tell you, we got to start giving this Gonzalez some credit. Maybe the most improved rider on our circuit. I was sort of looking for some of the European to come over here and do well, and maybe a couple others to really improve. And I got to be honest with you, I'm not seeing it from the Euros. And Gonzalez really improved, fantastic ride there, and got the money.
Yeah, no question. I've got to say, yeah, I liked Velocity. However, I did not include one of the disadvantages we have, Steve, is because we're trying to drop this podcast on Thursday nights, so that people are ready for Friday and Saturday. You've given out a lot of Friday picks, and we want to be ready. So we don't have a lot of time. And the way Delmar times it, we don't get the morning line until hours before showtime. And one of the things I do when because I really thought Lush Lips was going to win the race, and Velocity I really thought had a shot, but I was surprised when I saw the morning line that Velocity was 15 to 1 because I didn't include Velocity on the full card that I give out at racingjason.com because I thought the price would be a lot shorter, frankly. And I generally will pick the best horse I like on top and go for value underneath. Because I just think there's a chance that with hitting an all button, you'll catch the ones that might not be value. And then I saw Velocity was not only 15 to 1 morning line, but then ballooned up beyond that and paid $70. And it's like, oh, I should have caught up and put that on the full card line as well. And that's my neglect for not doing that. And that's not one I'm going to repeat. But I'm glad people that watch the podcast at least got a chance to see it, even if other people that follow our picks did not. So yeah, I think Velocity has a future, and looking forward to it. I do think Thought Process, it was kind of hard to really judge because of that post, and I think Thought Process will be a lot better than that with a fair draw.
Maybe with a shorter distance too. I don't know that a mile and an eighth is what she really wants to do, but I didn't really give her any excuses. The second place horse had excuses, but Velocity I thought was better than Thought Process. Uh, if anybody feels differently about that, I don't know. They didn't watch the same race that I watched, but would have been really cool to see everybody get a good trip. But that doesn't happen on that turf course. Sometimes you have to project a favorite to get a bad trip, and that's why you just don't want to take too short a price on those kind of races. But I will say this, that if you're consistent and you stay with your convictions on 15 to 1 and a horse goes to 30, I think, Jay, you got to make the play on that horse anyway.
Yeah, no question.
Again, we definitely make mistakes, Jay. There's no doubt about it. And you got to get past it. Don't let it bother you. And I'm sure you won't. But we all make mistakes. I've had a mistake riddled meet this meet, and I have not played my best. And the good news is I can turn it around in a heartbeat and a flash. I know I can, and I think I will.
Yeah, no question about that, Steve. I have full faith in what you've done. The 22nd ranked horse player in America last year, and looking to improve on that. So
well, I finished 22nd in one tournament, that's for sure. But that was just one tournament. There is actually a horse player ranking out there. If you folks want to look and see, and I'm way down on that one, Jay. I'm somewhere like 300. So I am not a 22nd in that tournament, which I'll take because that's where the money comes in. So I did want to talk about one other thing from last weekend, Jay.
I know you, Steve, and I know you
Yes.
did. But go ahead and lead into it. But don't deliver the punchline yet because I have some video ready for you.
Oh,
Hang
you
on just.
do?
I do. Hang on just a second because I knew you were going to talk about this.
Okay.
There was a race that some of us pick 4 and pick 5 players, and you and I both play those pools extensively. And I think after the first 3 legs, I don't know about you, Steve, but I was counting my money because I really thought I had that last leg doped out. But not so much. Kind of made me feel like a dope when I saw this. This was race 5 last Sunday. And Steve, this is just as they swing around the turn. So jump in on this fast and give us what you think because it comes up very quickly. Hang on just a
Okay.
second.
Well, here's what I think, folks. This is what I think happened in that race. I think the rules of Southern California are such that if you foul a horse and it doesn't change the outcome, then it leaves it up to the opinion of the stewards. Because in my opinion, Haysern Is it Haysern? Is it Harson?
Harson.
Harson definitely was the best horse. Harson definitely fouled two horses. And Harson definitely would have been taken down on the East Coast. But out here, it has to change the outcome. Now, Zaffarelli, to me, was the horse that was most affected. He finished ninth. And maybe the steward just said, well, we're going to give this guy days. It bothers me to no end when they say, well, it was a big foul and we're going to give the guy days, but we're going to leave it. We're not going to change anything for the horse players or the owners. To me, it just allows recklessness. And I thought this was an absolutely reckless ride by Armando Aguilar. And I thought it was great handicapping. To be honest with you, it's another horse I went back at afterward. And the horse that horse had ran second to, I could see somebody really saying, I think this horse has a chance at whatever the morning line was, 20-1, I think. And this horse won. And for those who handicapped this horse, you did a great job. For those who bet the race, like I did, I don't know how they could leave this horse up, but they can in Southern California. I just think the rule is wrong. And that's what I wanted to bring up. Sure. I think we have to change something this flagrant. Go ahead.
Steve, yeah, let's take a look at the video, and if you can give us your description as it happens. Give us just a second here. And here we go. Now, this is going to happen very fast.
You're going to see it. To me, it's just flat out reckless riding. But again, it didn't have an effect on the outcome. They're going to allow it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to be a horse player and you're going to be upset that you had Please Focus, who ran second in the race. And then what's going to end up happening is you're going to see that they're going to give Aguilar days. And it's frustrating because you're like, well, there was a foul. Of course there was a foul. Go ahead. Are you running it, Jay?
We're going to run it right now, Steve. So please describe what you see on the screen.
All right. Here you go. Look at how wildly this horse goes to the right. And he's the winner on the outside of the pack. He looks like he's in about fourth right now. And he just cut those two horses off and really, really made a reckless move. Barrios, Rispoli, Hernandez, Frasu, they do that kind of a move all the time, and they do it successfully. When they do it recklessly, they should be taken down. Those guys are good turf riders. And if you ride like that, someone's going to end up on the ground and someone's going to end up hurt really bad. That to me was just, Haysern didn't have the room, but he said, the heck with it, I'm going for it anyway. Jay, what did you see?
Yeah, just that ride. I mean, he was like shifting people out in the parking lot. That was very abrupt. There was no notice given. He just kind of abruptly bolted into the path of other
That's
horses.
exactly that's the right word, bolted, Jay.
Yeah, and just swept them out there where he definitely cost a couple of them a placing, but nevertheless, they didn't take him down. And yeah, I think you've got to teach a kid like that a lesson. Aguilar is only about 25, 26 years old, and if you let him get away with it, he'll do it again.
Right. Well, I'm almost guaranteeing they're going to end up giving the guy days. They're going to give the guy days, but they're going to, under their rules, they're going to say, and it was unanimous, by the way, it was 3-0. Under their rules, they're going to say it didn't affect the top four. I don't think there was a super high five in the race. So it didn't affect the superfecta. And you know what? It didn't affect the superfecta. I went back and watched it very carefully. And again, it's real hard for what we're seeing here, but I slow-moed it down and I said, okay, he bothered this horse. I couldn't even necessarily figure out which the other horse was, but it wasn't any of the top four finishers. I know Zaffarelli was one of them. And under the rules that they have, they're gonna end up keeping this horse up. And that's just not right. I mean, that is where it comes into play, where somebody's that flagrant, they've got to come down.
Yeah, understood, Steve. Well, that's past history. We can't cry over spilt milk. I can't cry over that big pick four that I was counting my money on. We move on to this weekend coming up and some big races at Saratoga and a big feature race at Del Mar. So we're going to move on and we're going to talk about at Saratoga, we're going to talk about that race we kind of alluded to, and that's the Personal Ensign Stakes on Saturday. And that race, there's a bunch of graded stakes in that one, including, and they're all on dirt. You have the Grade 1 Jerkins, Alan Jerkins. You have the Grade 1 Ballerina, which I'll be talking about when I give out a race. The Grade 1 Forgo. Of course, the King, the Travers will be, but we're going to focus on the personal ensign today. And Steve, as you mentioned, Torpedo Anna, you look at Torpedo Anna's record last year. She had three triple-digit bris figures and a 99 that was very close. And this year, she has not cracked the triple-digit mark since coming back. Had that one very bad race in the La Troyenne, and let's say that's a throwout because that's uncharacteristic of anything she's done in the past, and did bounce back nicely in the Fleur de Lis. It was a little better figure than she's running this lately. It's still just a 98. Steve, like we said, she has not been the same filly. And I guess my question for you is, do you think this is the new normal for Torpedo Anna? Do you think she's over the top and we've seen the best of her, like we saw the best of Rachel Alexandra in her 3-year-old year? Or do you think she can still bounce back to what she was?
She could get back. I mean, she could get it back. We don't know physically if there is anything wrong with her. There's no reason that she couldn't get it back. I mean, she runs a dynamic race in here. All of a sudden, we're going to go, wow. I mean, here's when she had her good streak last year, and I know you were given the Brisnet number. She ran 8.76 on RAG, was getting better, better, better. She ran a 6 in the Travers last year. And this year she ran 10, 8, 16, 8. She ran that 16. She's run a 10. She hadn't really been running any numbers in the 10 range, although she ran a 10 in the Breeders' Cup when she won it, and that wasn't super impressive to me. And I wasn't impressed with her Philly Park race. So her last 6 races, to me, haven't been near as good as what she had run in the races before that. It's that simple. Can she get it back? Yeah, there's a chance that she can get it back. It doesn't look like she will, and she's going to be a short price. Who's going to beat her in here, Jay, is really the question. I don't think she could. She has to run her A race to win this race.
Yeah, maybe not, but I think this is, still some of the tougher older fillies around. There aren't many that are better that she's going to face in this field in here. She lost in La Troyenne to Raging Sea, and even then, even when, I couldn't have predicted that she'd run as badly as she did in that race, I did pick Raging Sea to beat her that time. I just thought Raging Sea was sitting on a huge effort, and she didn't disappoint me and scored some big payoffs over at racingjason.com. But then Raging Sea, the last two have been really pedestrian thirds. First to Darth Vader, and Darth Vader, ran a nice one, and then just got beat by Randomized. It was Randomized turn, and Randomized is now coming off a pretty good race here, but Flavian Pratt wasn't impressed enough to keep them out, and he sticks with Raging Sea for Chad Brown. And they're both Chad Brown horses, and I've got to think that Flavian, who's now the first call rider for Chad, knows what he's doing. Steve, the one I like though is none of those three horses. I like number 6, Leslie's Rose. Leslie's Rose, had a nightmare trip in the Ogden Phipps and just wasn't persevered with late. Was eased in the stretch. But between those, had a triple-digit 102 in the Vagrancy, and last time out in the Grade 2 Shuvi right over this course, just ran a big race and beat a bunch of these. Beat Dazzling Move, beat Raging Sea, and recorded 108 bris figure, which is the best this year, I believe, in this division. So I think Leslie's Rose has a heck of a chance, and I'm frankly shocked that she's 9-2 morning line.
Well, she didn't run as good on rag numbers or visually. When I watched her 2 races, she ran a 10 and then an X and then a 9. And Torpedo Anna in her last 3 races has run 2 8s and a 16. Torpedo Anna's still a little bit faster than her. I understand you're a Brisnet guy. I've looked for 30 years at Ragazine numbers, and I've looked at every other number, and I'm very confident to say that how good the numbers are. They do a better job even than Thoroughgraph. Thoroughgraph has some other stuff that I really like, and I actually use both of them. But as far as numbers go, when somebody tells me someone ran a better buyer or better Brisnet number, to me it doesn't hold anything. When it's a rag number that you got to pay $45 a day for, it's something because it's that good. That's why you have to pay that price. That being said, Leslie Rose is definitely improving. She's a 4-year-old. She's getting better. She had a slop race in between that she just didn't handle the slop. She's going to most likely get a fast track. And 9-2 on her. I'm not talking you off of her for sure. Not a race that I'm that interested in. I couldn't really come up with anybody. Raging Sea could bounce back, and I think she actually might get the pace. But boy, oh boy, I have been burned there playing two or three of these big races where I've been playing closers. It's just hard to make up ground there. I do think Raging Sea bounces back. She's 3 for 8 at this track. She was really, really interesting to me, especially with all the speed signed up in here. But I think I'm laying low in this race, Jay.
Yeah, no, understood. And I think if Torpedo Anna can flash back to 80% of what she was last year, these are running for second. I'm just not sure that she's got that 80% in her.
Yeah.
Raging Sea, I have to respect the heck out of Flavian's choice here, and I'm sure he had other options. So I do think that over Saratoga. Raging Sea is always a contender. So, yeah, we'll see what she can do. I mean, there should be pace here to set up her late run. And, maybe in these last two races, there just wasn't enough pace. Today, there might be. So, yeah, Raging Sea could bounce back. And it wouldn't be a shock to see Raging Sea in the winner's circle either.
All right,
So,
Jay, we're gonna move on. I mean, I give her a chance. It's just I just couldn't put my finger on anything in that race, to be honest with you, folks. And I hate to say that on here, but that's the way I feel. And when I feel that way about a race, I'm gonna let you know.
all right. Steve, let's look at the big one of the weekend. Let's look at the Grade 1 Travers. Not as big as we would have liked it to be. It's a five-horse field. And, of course, Sovereignty, the odds-on favorite for the three-year-old champion and probably horse of the year at this point, unless somebody knocks him off, is 2-5. Steve, it's not necessarily the most competitive Travers we've ever seen, but let me have your take.
Well, Magnitude has won two unbelievable races in a row. I mean, we forget about the Fairgrounds race and the Risen Star, where this guy just ran away from the field at 40-1, and then the horse comes out and won a race at Prairie Meadows at 3-5. I mean, it's just so under the radar. The fact is, Sovereignty's beaten everybody and has shown tactical speed when we thought maybe there was a chance that someone could get in front of this horse, and this horse has been more tactical. So where this horse got 48 and change and looked like a winner every step of the way last time. So gonna be tough. I mean, Magnitude's only 2-1. I don't like the other three horses. And Jay, I mean, this looks like another race that's gonna be very tough to bet.
Yeah, Steve, I don't know. I didn't look at Thorograph or the rag sheets for number three strategic focus, but that optional claimer two back was pretty fast race on the Brisnet figures. Any chance that strategic focus could crack the exacta here?
Oh, that horse has run very nicely, and I mean, it has a really, really nice looking sheet for a horse that has three races. He went a point backward last time. He ran a 10-3 back, ran a 7-2 back, and an 8. This horse has been very fast. They're putting blinkers on. I don't know what that's going to do pace wise. This horse has been forwardly placed, doesn't have a very fast Brissy P number. And if that is the case, and that horse does show speed, 1 and 2 look like they want to show speed. And in that case, I don't know how this horse will win. He could put blinkers on and maybe track. I mean, very, very nice looking sheet for 3 races.
Okay, well, I think we're probably not in too much dispute that it's going to take one hell of an effort to knock off Sovereignty. I'm kind of thinking with a five-horse field, an exacta would be the play. And the question is, if you play an exacta, say Sovereignty to Magnitude, it's probably for your $1, you might get 3 if you're lucky. If you play it with Strategic Focus, it might be more like a $5 or $6 straight exacta. Or you can take a shot and play Magnitude over Sovereignty. If you could only play it one way, which way would you go?
Yeah, I mean, that's not my MO. I would put Sovereignty on top if I had to. I don't know, $2 for $1, $3 for $1. I mean, it's just not a bet that I'm
Yeah.
even contemplating in my mind.
Yeah, and obviously, if we play it, we're not going to be playing it for $1 or $2, but we're talking about our viewers that play not dollar exactas, but $1,000 exactas, and then it gets a little interesting for them. Yeah, I think Sovereignty, as far as I'm concerned, even though Magnitude looks like he is improving with every race, I think Sovereignty will be my pick four single because I just don't think, with magnitude at 2-1, even if he pulls the upset, I don't think, you're going to get, that much better a pick four or pick three or pick five than you would singling Sovereignty. I'd rather just load up on Sovereignty and let it ride.
Well, if I was playing a pick four to that race, I'd probably play the pick three in the three races before it, just being honest. Because a lot of the times you're going to see a payout that's going to be, just say the pick three at random, just say it paid $200. Maybe the pick three paid 200 and the pick four is going to pay 205. Might even pay less. It's not impossible that it pays less. And I just, why risk the money? If you like the three races before it and you have to play the pick four to that, my recommendation is to play the pick three. And I do this as a guy that's trying to finish ahead, not that a guy that wants action in every race. And to me, this is a no action race. And I think it's really tough to string races through two horses that are triple crown horse of the year type horses. Those things tend to pay absolutely nothing unless you think you can beat them. It really makes it difficult. And I think that the races before this are tremendous. And my recommendation would be to play the pick three. If you have a pick six, that's the only time I found it to be worthwhile. If you really and truly have a single in the pick six and you have another single in the pick six, and you think that horse is a single, and you can come up with the other four, it's hard to do, but that's when you can possibly find some value. But pick fives and pick fours end up being undervalued.
Yeah, I agree. So Steve, it's that time. It's our feature race of the week, and it won't be at Saratoga. It's going to be local. We're going to go over the Grade 2 Pat O'Brien, and we'll go horse by horse and cover that entire field. Steve, why don't I kick it off with the rail horse here, and I'm going to go with number one, Dr. Venkman here. Is one of the top picks here. This one comes off a competitive race in the Grade 1 Bing Crosby. Was pressing the pace most of the way. Never really got involved and kicked in late. That's the race where a horse you like, Lovesick Blues, surprised everybody and finished
So
$45.
now we've both done this. I forgot about that. We've both had a big bomb and neither one of us cashed a ticket on it. Shame on both of us, Jay.
Exactly. Uh, Yeah. Now, Antonio Frazou abandons this one. It's it's with Mark Glad, and Frazou rides for Glad a lot, so I've got to think it's Frazou's choice. Umberto Rispoli picks up the mount, and this is a quality horse. I don't know if he's going to be on top of my ticket by the time we do our top three at the end, but he's a legitimate contender. I'm willing to forgive that one. And in terms of the rail on this one, it's probably not the ideal place to go at the 7 furlong trip in the last between July and now, July 18th for the entire meet. There have been zero winners on the rail. So this is probably not one that you want to unload your entire bankroll on, but I still think Dr. Venkman is a legitimate contender here in spite of those negatives. Steve, what do you think of Speedboat Beach?
Well, I'm going to comment on Dr. Vinkman first because I thought he
Oh,
had
oh, sorry about that.
I
I'm
thought
getting
he
ahead
had
of
no
myself.
chance. No problem. I thought he had no chance from the inside last time. And I think he has a chance now because I think the track has changed. It's a much, much more fair racetrack now than what we had earlier in the meet. That doesn't mean it's not going to be that way on Saturday. This is a field, what? We have 8 horses in here. This
Nine, isn't it?
I'm sorry, is it 9?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it is 9. Okay. The rail will be fairly close, but it won't be pinned like it will be in a 12-horse field at 7 furlongs. So this horse might start from that second gate out, and it won't be super, super tight. So I think he'll be like 2 paths over from that inside. When you see a 12-horse field at 7 furlongs, man, that rail is right next to where that one starting gate is. So I think that gives him a little bit of a break. And the fact that he did run against that bias, I'm disappointed he's 4-1 because he really looked flat last time. And to me, he's got all kinds of reason to run better. I think this is a good distance for him. He always fires. He put in one stinker. There's no reason this horse can't bounce back. I think he's one of the ones.
All right. And now Speedboat Beach.
Okay. Go back to that Breeders' Cup sprint race, Jay. Elite Power Gunite. I think those are 2 of the best sprinters we've seen in the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, agreed.
I think those 2 horses were absolutely amazing. Elite Power, 2-time Breeders' Cup sprint winner, overcame an incredible speed bias at Santa Anita. You couldn't pass a horse. That whole 2 days, I was up there for 2 days playing in the Breeders' Cup tournament. Couldn't pass a horse. That horse came from 4 or 5 lengths back and just ran incredibly well. Gunite incredibly well. I don't think Speedboat Beach has ever really run a bad race except for his last one. I mean, this isn't a great draw for him because to me he's inside the other speed, but this is certainly a nice horse, and it certainly wouldn't be surprised me if he got all the money. And I am sure that this is the starting point to try to get this horse ready for the Breeders' Cup in a couple of months.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the wheels fell off a little bit on that Churchill race. It was a long layoff, December 23rd to May 25th, like a year and a half off, after winning the Malibu. And, obviously, some injury took place that knocked him out. And he clearly wasn't ready for that easier competition where he just, kicked it in at odds on and just was not persevered with late by Flavian Pratt. Flavian obviously has a big day planned with Chad Brown in New York, so no shame in Juan Hernandez, Bob Baffert's first call rider, picking it up. And Hernandez won the only time, but then for whatever reason, Bob gave that mount to Flavian, and Juan hasn't ridden him since. So I think he's probably looking forward. Juan Hernandez had a couple of options in here and goes with this one. So I've got to think all systems are go for Speedboat Beach. He's a top contender.
He and Bob are 57% for the meet, Jay.
Yeah.
23 starters. That's pretty good. 12
Yeah.
to 3. That's pretty
That,
good.
that's hard to kick about. That's a flat bet profit
I
if you
think
just
he's
bet
going to
them.
end up on his horse just because that pair is just going so good.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, now it's number three, Spirit of Mecana. George Papadromou and Marco De Moro, who is gradually wrapping it up. He's got 3 wins now. He's up to 8%. It's hard. We don't want to, minimize his ability because he was a fine rider over in Italy. But when you come over here, you've got to get in the barns. The trainers need to trust you because they already have go-to riders that they're using.
Sure.
So it's not like Mirko's getting, the first cream of the crop here. Antonio Ferzu didn't either, though he still made a pretty big splash pretty quickly out of the gate. So Mirko's on Spirit of Mekina. This one, showed some good form back in 2023, back when Speedboat Beach was, running very well. And then after that, once he took whatever injury break he had, just kind of went off form in the Bing Crosby that year, was way out of it. And then really has not been competitive for the win since, except one race in the Grade 3 San Carlos. He kind of pressed the pace and in a 5 horse field finished close third. That was Santa Anita. This is not Santa Anita, having a real hard time making case for Spirit of Mekina hitting the board.
I've got nothing on this horse, Jay. I don't like this horse. Pasadena for me.
Okay. How about the next one?
Well, I mean, this is a scary looking horse. I mean, this is a horse that's done nothing wrong in his career. 2 starts. He's cutting back from a mile, which I like. He's a 4-year-old coming off a layoff. I don't mind that. I know it's a long layoff, but the work pattern looks fantastic. And the numbers, I mean, the speed of the works are fabulous. Big works. I'm not going to use this horse in my top 3, but Jay, this horse wouldn't surprise me for all of them. I'm passing on this horse, but again, this horse would not surprise me in any one of the positions.
Yeah, and that work is just scorching. 58.2 out of the gate bullet. Nice 111.4 and 112 at 6 furlongs. This one's got a base. He's been working these long works and just seems really ready to come back. And obviously, Steve, I look a lot at trainer jockey combinations. They're both Baffert horses. Hernandez rode this one twice. Hernandez moves to Speedboat Beach. Bob Baffert's not the kind of trainer that you look at, well, let me play a sneaky jockey move here and I'll bet the other one. I mean, Bob just doesn't have that reputation. There are trainers that do. Bob's not really one of them. So I've got to think that Speedboat Beach is, Bob's real bullet in here, but that doesn't mean Maymoon can't hit the board and do quite well. And for whatever reason, Speedboat Beach isn't completely sound. A win would not be out of the question. Liking this one's future, even if that future isn't on Saturday.
Mm,
And
not at
uh,
all.
and now we move on to Awesome Rhythm, another big long shot here. And This one has been unlike the other long shot we talked about. This one's actually in decent form. Unfortunately, that decent form has come against claimers, and the fact that it wasn't beating 30 and $32,000 claimers at the end of 24, beginning of 25, isn't very impressive. Then he started to pick it up a little bit and won three of the last four races here. Won his only race over at Del Mar, and Victor Garcia, who trains a lot over at Los Alamitos, and Armando Ayuso, I know he's one of your favorite jocks, they click for 60% wins. Does all that add up to a chance to hit the board? Maybe the superfecta, maybe, but even that's kind of a reach for me, Steve.
Yeah, this is a very sharp horse right now. He's in good form. You might like this extra distance. If the top horses don't run their A race, if they run their A races, some of the better horses in here, this one's going to have a tough time. But this guy's very sharp right now, and it was a pretty impressive effort last time at 10-1. It's another horse I'm passing on with it makes this race difficult, Jay, when I've got 4 or 5 horses in here that I really respect, and this is one of them. But it's not in my top three, but I'm not going to be surprised if this horse ends up somewhere on the ticket.
Yeah. All right, Steve. How about one that has a more realistic chance? Number six, Stronghold.
Yeah, I've always liked this horse. I'll tell you what, if you go back to the Parks race at September the 21st, this horse went 5 wide all the way around the track. That day was such a huge inside bias. I don't bring up bias all the time because to me, it's really relevant when it's really strong. And when on days that it's not, you really don't want to bring it up or what the profile is, what have you. You can see it, but when you don't know what it is, and most of the people are not well aware that the Pennsylvania Derby day, when Seize the Gray won, that was a monster inside bias. Everything on the outside did nothing all day. This guy went wide all the way around all the turns and really ran a nice race. Got up to within a neck of Seize the Gray, and like every other horse on the outside, he really started spinning his wheels from there. Then he runs second to Raging Torrent. It's an amazing race. And then obviously something went amiss in a very tough race against White Abario, and he hasn't been seen since. The works are consistent. I give this horse a nice chance to run a good race. 3-1's a little short in a race where I got a lot of contenders, but this is another contender in this race, and I think he's going to run well.
Yeah, Steve. This is the one that Antonio Frezou defected from Dr. Venkman to run, and turns out he made the right gamble, in my opinion, because he's drawn so much better. And the jockeys obviously don't know what the draw is going to be before they have to make their commitments. So Frezou kind of lucked out here, landing the number six hole. Raging Torrent was the best one-turn horse this year before his unfortunate retirement. I think finishing a mile and a quarter to that horse really speaks well. And that Pegasus field was obviously loaded with White Abario and with Locked and with Skippy Longstocking all coming back to win.
Yeah,
So
and Locked and Skippy Longstocking were better at that time, and obviously White Abario's been in and out too. Agreed with that.
yeah, I think Stronghold definitely has a chance for a form reversal here. One race over the track and a good second. So Stronghold, I think, is definitely on the short list of contenders here. And now we'll look at number seven, Express Train. This one I think really flies under the radar. Express Train is 3 for 8 locally and ran a decent race to Dr. Venkman, but this time he's drawn much better than Dr. Venkman. I think Hector Barrios taking the mount is a positive. Hector is not quite the rider on dirt, I think, as he is on turf, where he's, top three in the colony. But even on dirt, Hector Barrios, you make a case he's top five, top six. It's not like he has problems riding on the dirt. And then he ran in the big cap, ran a decent second to Locked, who we just talked about, and Locked, despite having a one kerfuffle, is still one of the best older horses in the country, and will be a contender for that Eclipse. Yeah, possibly. And certainly not the 3-year-old Eclipse since he's older, but right now I think the 3-year-olds look stronger than the older, and Locked could turn the tables on horses like White Barrio. Whether he can turn the table on other horses like Mindframe and Sierra Leone and Fierceness, that's steep company. But I do think that Express Train finished a decent second to him and beat Hit Show, who won the big race out in Dubai. I do think Express Train is a solid contender here in a grade two.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I like this horse's chances. Not a great effort from him last time. Um, Thought he made a little bit of a premature move. The horse that won that race, Nisos Miramati, was on the lead. Um, I think this horse has a good chance to run a much better race cutting back today. The workouts look very good. I really like where he's drawn. And the one thing that we keep talking about in this race is most of these horses are pressers. Apollo on the outside, we're coming to, and Mana Rose that we're coming to are both speed. So is Moyman. So is Speedboat Beach, who probably is the speed of the speed. He might be a little quicker than those others, but pace is going to be fast. And I think Express Train is going to be in a very, very good spot. Barrios will figure it out. And at 12-1, I think this horse has a good long shot chance.
Yeah, I definitely think he's the one you want to use on your ticket and what slots you'll have to determine. Okay, Steve, number eight, Tapalo.
Could not have been more disappointed in this horse last time. I really liked See Through in that race, and I like this horse. And I couldn't decide between the two. And I want to say this was one of the later races in the pick six. It might have been more than 10 races that day because I think I was live to something and then maybe didn't hit the last race because I had these two. This horse didn't run very good in that race. This horse, I've always thought this horse had ability, but I think this is the wrong race to show it because his best MO is his speed. And I just don't see how he's going to get a good trip. Been a disappointing horse for me, Jay, the last 3 or 4 races that this horse, that's 3 races that he's run. So I'm going to pass on him today, and I just don't think this race sets up for him.
Yeah, I mean, clobbered by Stronghold in the Big Cat back in 24, in the San Diego Derby back in 24, excuse me. That was a mile and an eighth. I think you have to look and say, is he really a router? I mean, I know that he ran in that El Camino Real, one of the last races up at Golden Gate, and he made the lead and finished a decent second there to Endlessly. That was on the Tapeta. On dirt, I just don't know that this one really is a router. He seems like he's all lick and no stick to me. But at 7 furlongs, he's 2 for 4. Could he hit the board? Yeah. Am I going to bet they didn't hit the board? No. And then finally, number nine, Mana Rose. This one is definitely a contender for the speed of the speed. Has been gone since November 24th, and the work tab's been okay. It certainly hasn't been in the league with some of the others like Mamoon and Speedboat Beach. But you do look at that July 25th work. And that July 25th work was a 58.4, second best out of 68. So you could probably make the case, well, he was ready there, and the last 3 works have just been maintenance works to kind of maintain that good form. Maldonado is still the best send jock in this colony, all things considered. Obviously, when he's 2 for 48, you can't make the claim he's the best send jock this meet. And on his best day, Maldonado can break with Juan Hernandez out of the gate and give him a tussle. This meet, yeah, not a chance. But he is improving a little bit. I know he only has the 2 wins, but he's also been picking up a little bit in the second and third slot. And I do think Mana Rose has an outside shot to hit the board at a nice price.
That's a nice horse, Jay. This horse is really, really talented. Turf dirt. I mean, he broke 107 on a turf race, and I couldn't believe he won that race. That race was so loaded with good turf horses. He was just so sharp that he was able to win that race. And then he won by 8 going a mile. This horse really can do it all. I think 7 furlongs is no problem. He got beat by Big City Lights last time, who was super sharp at the time. I mean, he really doesn't have any bad races. And Jeff Mullins has just been on an absolute roll this year. He hasn't done as well down here at Del Mar, I will say that. But you can almost be certain that this horse will look great. I just don't think the race sets up for him. This is why this race is difficult to me, because there's a lot of good horses that I know I'm leaving off, and I'm leaving them off for little reasons, like maybe this horse is going to be in a speed duel. Maybe he'll be buried down on the inside. Makes for a little bit of a tough race in here, which in that case, I want to go with a price, which is what I'm going to do, because I really think that 5 or 6 horses have a legit shot in this race, Jay, and I think Mana Rose is one of them.
Yeah. All right. And speaking of those prices, let's put our cards on the table and see what we have. Steve, I did it last week, so why don't you rattle off your best three chances
I
to
will.
win?
I will. That sounds
Last to
great, Jay.
first.
Very fair. I like Dr. Vinkman for third. I think he's going to bounce back and run a good race. I think this horse has a shot for all of it, Jay, because I think people are going to look at that last running line. I really thought that was a strong outside bias. I think the track is much more fair. I think the draw is going to hurt him a little bit today. He's my third horse. I like Stronghold to come back in a good way. Again, I'm going with this horse over some of the other ones like a Speedboat Beach because I just think there's too much speed in this race. But again, any one of those three speed horses sticks around in here, and I'm not going to be surprised. So, not an easy race. That's why I want to go with a price. I don't know if we're on the same price horse, but I didn't know that you were going to like this horse at all. I'm going to pick Express Train to win this race just because of the way the race shapes up. I think you need a price. I like the fact that he's going to get the perfect situation today. Hector's going to be patient with him. I love going around the sprint. I like playing John Sheriffs in this kind of a race. 12 to 1 is appealing to me in here on a horse that I think his chances are better than 1 in 12. So I'm going to go with the old boy, 8-year-old Express Train to upset in this year's Pat O'Brien.
Well, Steve, we both like Express Train, but you like him more. He's my third horse, and I just think he's the type that really has a shot to hit the board here. He's been running longer, cutting back, and that type, has usually done pretty well at this 7 furlong distance. So Express Train is my third horse, and if you were right and he won, would be no surprise. My second best horse here is Maymoon. I think this horse has worlds of potential. That work tab is pretty darn impressive, and I do think that Maymoon has a long way. He's never been headed, and yet I can't put him on top because Juan Hernandez goes to Speedboat Beach, the proven speed. And I'll tell you, it's very interesting that they were apparently working in company. That August 17th huge work, the 58.2, Speedboat Beach also ran a 58.2, so I'm guessing that work was a joint work between them. And I would be curious to see how some of the clockers that we know personally think about what those works look like. But I've got to think that Speedboat Beach has just had this huge resume, like you say, those big races to Elite Power and Gunite. I think he's had a little trouble staying sound, but when he's on his best, he's as good as any sprinter in the country. Speedboat Beach is my pick on top, despite the 5-2 price. I'll take it.
Hmm. And you know what? I like your picks, but I like my picks too. This is an open race, Jay. I got to tell you, it really is. I was thinking that you were going to go back on Dr. Vinkman, and neither one of us put him on top, but I think that he's going to drift up from that 4 to 1. I mean, he's the horse that I'd keep my eyes on price wise. This could definitely be won by a price horse, and it could be won by Speedboat Beach. Open race and a good race.
Yeah, yeah, definitely so. And I think if Dr. Venkman, was drawn outside, he would have been in my top three. And you make a good point, though, Steve. If he's going to really be breaking from the second hole rather than the first, that's not quite as bad as that rail, which has just been like a death trap this whole meet. So that's my main hesitation. If Dr. Venkman was breaking from the 4 or 5, he would have been at least third, but he's not. So, and it was hard for me to leave Stronghold off the ticket. I think Stronghold's going to run a big race here, but you can only pick three when you're giving out your top three, and Stronghold was my fourth. I just, he's faced, some really top competition as well. Hits the board, won't be any surprise, but at 3 to 1, not of value to me. So I'm just not
Hmm.
going to use Stronghold, and I'm going to hope that, he just doesn't have it on Saturday.
Well,
So,
go ahead.
yeah, yeah. So no, that's pretty. Anything else on this race, Steve?
No, it's a hell of a race. Just I've had so much fun with this race over the years, Jay. Really one of the races I really look forward to every year at this track, and going back over some of the memories. And I want to just touch on one. I want to try to go real quick.
Sure.
My late friend John Fletter, who I miss so much because he and I went to the track. We went about 15 years straight together. Almost every day we were together, and unfortunately he got lung cancer a few years ago and passed, and I miss him. I miss him a lot. But We were both on the same horse this one day. We were like this horse named Lead to Justice, and it was in the Pat O'Brien, and maybe this is 20 years ago. I'm just being at random when it was.
Yeah,
I
great
remember,
sprinter.
but I remember there being three speed horses in the race, and they were going to absolutely blitz in there. And I told John, I said, John, I hope at the half that he's within 6 or 7 lengths, because if he is, he can't lose this race. And we were both agreeing. And he said, "Oh, Steve, he's definitely going to be within. He's going to be within that. I guarantee it." Well, they ran the first quarter in 22, and he was 10 lengths back. Jay, they ran the half in 44 flat, and he was on the lead. I swear to you that this horse ran a sub 20-second quarter, which I had never seen in my entire life. He went from 10 lengths behind. By the time they hit the turn before that, he was a length in front. And you'd never seen a middle move like that. It was a little bit too soon, and he actually just won by a length from there the whole way, and ran an amazingly fast time. I think, if going back, it was the fastest Pat O'Brien ever run. But I'm not 100% sure. I think it was at the time, and maybe somebody's run faster. But it was amazing to me that a horse could be that good. And a year and a half later, he didn't win the Breeders' Cup that year, but a year and a half later, he went last to first and ran one of those unbelievable quarters. He was like a blur going past really, really good horses. Started a great streak for Corey Nakatani, and Janine Sahadi, training one of the best things I'd ever seen in a race was the second quarter he ran in the Pat O'Brien, a year and a half before he won the Breeders' Cup Sprint.
Oh, great story. Yeah. And I didn't remember it was Nakatani that was riding, now that I do. Nakatani was such a talented athlete. Back in high school, he was, I believe, also a wrestler, and, just really muscled a horse. Finally, he did make the Hall of Fame finally, didn't he, Steve?
He did, he did, and then he could really do it all. What he couldn't do was schmooze. I mean, if he had personality at Chris McCarron and maybe the temper, he had a bad temper. And he'd tell you exactly what he thought. And if he didn't like you, he'd tell you. But he was one hell of a rider. He had it all. Physically, he had the same skills as I see with this Kazushi Kimura. He's just so physically talented on a horse, but he also had the brains. Kent Desormo and him were always fighting for the rail to cut corners. And he was a great turf rider. He could ride the lead. And what a career he had. And again, I think it could have been a whole lot better if he had some of the mentality that, like a Lafitte Pincay or Chris McCarron had, or Gary Stevens. Those guys were great riders, and they were all class, and they just didn't let things get to them, didn't get mad, didn't push people off horses after losing a race like he did a couple of times, when he pushed a guy off named Ryan Barber, and he got in a lot of trouble for that. But just had things like that happen, into fights and that kind of thing. But that was the personality he had. But boy, what a great rider he was, and finally got his day and got in the Hall of Fame. Deserved it.
Definitely. So, Steve, we're going to talk about our free samples here at this point. And as most of our followers know that followed us from the Inside Racing Radio Show, our full cards and best bets are available at racingjason.com. $25 for the full cards and $15 for the best bet. Steve always gives a full Delmar card plus whatever bonuses du jour that he puts on, while I always do a bonus card from Saratoga on Saturday during this meet. And usually I do New York throughout the year. But we always promise that everything on this channel is free content, and hopefully will impress you enough that you might want to try the full cards down the road if you haven't already. Steve, what do you have for us?
All right, Jay. Before I get to my race, and it is going to be the seventh race tomorrow, the Friday race, I just wanted to remind everybody our great sponsor here. Call 1-888-3-GOT-POKER. Today, use the promo code SaddleUp50. You get $50 off a booking for casino house parties. Really, really nice people. Really cool if you folks have been thinking about it. You want to have a party at your house, maybe for New Year's or what have you. Now's a good time to book, because you'll make sure that you'll get first crack, and they'll guarantee you that they'll be there. If you're thinking about doing something different for Christmas this year. Again, the promo code SaddleUp50, you get $50 off. CasinoHouseParties.com. Craps, roulette, blackjack, they do it all. And really, really fun people to deal with. Really very nice people. Give them a buzz or check out the website, CasinoHouseParties.com. Jay, I'm going to race 7 tomorrow. And, when the rails have been at 30, speed has been very good. and the rail is way out at 30 feet. And I've got a speed play in there today, and it's a horse named Jewel Shillelagh who Rispoli got on last time, and I thought he grabbed him, and I didn't necessarily think the race was right for this horse because this is a horse that wants to be free running and go. And Ryan Hansen had claimed this horse for 50,000 off of Michael McCarthy. Again, this horse can be speedier, and they put Adrian Escobedo up. I don't think that's going to draw a lot of attention from the crowd. There's a lot of horses dropping in here and a lot of horses in here that I don't think are at their best form. And I think this is a good place to take a shot in here. The two horses that I would use in here would be the outside two, Beef Winslow and Simplexity, if you want to play exotics. But I like the 7, Jeweled Shillelagh, race 7 tomorrow. That's on the Friday card. Race 7. Remember, there's a late post, and it's 3 o'clock now start time. With the sun going down a teeny bit earlier. 3 o'clock first post tomorrow. Race 7 tomorrow. Number 7, Jeweled Shillelagh to upset in the 7th race at Del Mar tomorrow.
Yeah, Steve, and yeah, Adrian Escobedo is a relative unknown in this colony, but he has ridden a lot for Ryan Hansen, and Ryan's wife Michelle Yu has been on our radio show a number of times, and Michelle has a lot of faith in Adrian. So don't go by the fact that you might not have heard of him or know him well. He's a talented rider, and I remember, Steve, you had, speaking of the radio show, you once had a call with Joel Shillelagh where you picked him on top and won nicely.
Well, I was on the radio, or on our radio show, and I believe Rispoli was ridden. He was really, really bet down that day. That was last August 10th. Rispoli won with him. He was bet down to 2-1, but he did get the job done under Rispoli. I thought Rispoli grabbed him a little bit last time. This is the second time off of that little layoff, and I think he's got a good shot to bounce back in here. So the 7, Jeweled Shillelagh, horse we've had good success with before, comes back to his better races. And his better races are going to go a long way, especially when those rails are out at 30. Boy, that for Thursday and Friday, they'll put them back closer to 0 on the weekend, but it really makes it tight. And those horses down on the inside that get that inside ground saving trip, man, they're really in trouble down there. I'd rather be outside. That's why I'm using those 2 outside horses with him. But I think this horse has a shot to go wire to wire.
All right. Well, I have not 1, not 2, but I have 3 races for you today. I've overachieved. I work hard for my money, and I want you to get some of that money too. We're going to start across the pond in York. I've tried to give out a couple of races, but the King George and Queen Elizabeth, and then the other one last week that we had kind of pumped a little bit actually turned out to be a midweek race. And both of those horses drew small fields of 5 and 6 horses. And Delacroix, the son of Dubawi, excuse me, I keep saying Dubai, just unfortunately could not keep up with his arch rival Ombudsman. Those two, along with Callandagan, who won the big race earlier this year, are all some of the top contenders in Europe, and hopefully we'll see a couple of those in the Breeders' Cup, though might not surprise us if they go in the Arc de Triomphe as well. We're going to look at one of the bigger races here of this meet, and this is the Grade 1 Coolmore Nunthorpe Stakes. And this is race 4, and it is early. You need to get up early for this one. It will go off at 7:35 in the morning Pacific time. So especially if you're on the West Coast, set that alarm if you want to play this one. The favorite here, and justifiably so, is number 9, Arizona Blaze, under a talented trainer, Adrian Murray, David Egan, who's ridden over here. The reason why this one's the favorite in this race is because he's actually come close in a Group 1. The Group 1 Commonwealth Cup worth almost $1 million over there, and that money goes a long way. $1 million race there is the equivalent of like the Travers at 1.5 million. That's the way the money exchange goes. This one ran a very good race to a talented horse, Time for Sandals, and that's why he's 5-1. But we're gonna use him in the exotics, but we'll see if we can maybe knock him off. We're going to use some other horses here. We'll use number 12, Magira, who is 2 lengths behind, but gets the services of William Buick here. William Buick had ridden him once before, one of the top 2 riders in England, Steve, and in Europe, and probably in the world on turf, as we've talked about, the other one being Ryan Moore himself. Magira, very close to Arizona Blaze. William Buick could improve him enough to get him in the money. But there's a couple of others that I do like here. Ryan Moore actually takes the mount. He gives up that one to take number 15, Syed Darian. And this one's from the Richard Hughes barn. Richard Hughes is a very talented trainer over there. And this one was also very close in that Arizona Blaze race in the Commonwealth Cup, just a length and a quarter off the win in that Commonwealth Cup. So, just a head or so away from Arizona Blaze. So he certainly fits right with them. Number 16, Lady Aman, is 4 for 5. And this is one that Ryan Moore gives up when you've got that kind of a rating. And he's 4-1 on the morning line. Lady Aman is a filly that has to be used. But this is my blockbuster here that I think can really score us some money. And that's number 14, Celandine. Celandine was just behind Sayada Darian, the horse that Ryan Moore goes for, was only 2 lengths behind that one. And yet, despite that relatively mild margin of distance, this one's 30-1. It's a huge overlay on Celandine. And when it's been competitive with one of the best horses in the race, Celandine is a must use. So I'm going to give you a couple of exactas, a couple of exotics to play here. When you've got a 30-1 shot with a chance, it demands, as far as I'm concerned, playing that exacta wheel. So it's 14 with all and all with 14. At 30-1, if it finishes in the top two, you can't help but make some money. And then I'm going to box all 5 of the horses we talked about. 9, 12, 14, 15, and 16. It's a dollar trifecta over there in York. It's a $60 bet. You're going to be sinking some serious money into this, but you'll be rewarded if you do, especially if Celandine gets in there. Obviously, the exacta is a little bit less of an expensive bet if you want to play it that way, but I think they're both viable plays. So, moving on, we will look at Saratoga. We're going to look at one of the feature races over there, and we're going to look at the Grade 1 Ballerina. And this is a wide open race. I gave out of the 9 horses in the field, I thought 7 of them had a shot to win. And but we're going to try to knock off Celia, the favorite here. Celia, the favorite, is a horse that is 5-2 on the morning line. Flavian takes over from Joel Rosario for Bill Mott. And certainly this one's been competitive over the last several. Hasn't won in a while. Hasn't won since last June 24th in the Fleur de Lis, that same race we talked about that Torpedo Anna just ran in. So, but a year before. I think at 5-2, that's a little bit short, in my opinion, to justify that price. And I'm looking for a price here, and I think I have one, and it's number 5, Claret Beret. Claret Beret is from Safi Joseph, one of the dominant trainers down at Gulfstream Park, and does very well with his string in New York as well. He's hitting at 15% in New York, not quite as high as his Gulfstream string. And Arad Ortiz, when they have that championship meet in the winter, rides a lot for Safi, and they team up again here as well. This one, the last race was pretty good. Ran to a stakes horse Bava in the Grade 2 Chicago Stakes, beating Zaitlos, another contender in here, by 3.5. But look at that race before. That's a $70,000 overnight handicap, 106 bris figure, winning by 19 lengths at Gulfstream Park. So Claret Beret at 6-1 is an overlay here with Arad, and Arad has been riding up a storm at Saratoga, Steve, as we've talked about a long time. Like a number 5, Claret Beret, it's another exacta wheel for me.
All right. You're just going to play the horse to win and bet him to win, wheel him in the exacta?
Wheel him in the exacta as well. Yes, wheel her in the exacta. It's hard to Arad at 6-1, and look, you're not going to get 6-1 because it's Arad, but you might get 4, and it's a value at 4.
I don't know. You might get 6-1 when the races when they get Grade 1 races. Those guys can go off at prices because there's all quality horses, and there's big money bet in those races. You might get 6-1 on that horse.
Well, I hope you're right, Steve. I'd like to see that. And then finally, we're going to go to Del Mar, and we're going to look at, and I have lost the race here, so bear with me while I get it. And okay, we're going to look at race 8. It's the race right before the Pat O'Brien. And this is a really contentious 5 furlong race on the turf here. And the favorite is the 7-2 Yellow Card at the rail with Kazushi Kimura aboard. And just like with the race over in England, Yellow Card is favored off a very close second place finish in the Grade 1 Franklin Simpson Stakes, I believe it is, at Kentucky Downs. I might have that wrong, but anyway, that Kentucky Downs course is a very tricky, very challenging course, and this one actually made the lead. I don't know if he was just overcome late. I don't know if JR made the move a little prematurely because just couldn't hold it the last length, but it was a heck of a race for a gigantic purse because all those purses at Kentucky Downs are gigantic purses, especially the Grade 1. So that was, I believe, I'm going to go by memory here, but that might have been a $1.5 million purse. I think it was similar in range to what the Travers is paying tomorrow or Saturday. So yeah, Yellow Card is clearly the favorite here, but if you look closely, look at that horse that is right behind 1.75 miles in the last race in that conditioned allowance over this course. And that is a horse, if you go down to number 6, that is Patron d'Oro. Patron d'Oro is trained by Daniel Ascarate. Does not do huge business on this circuit, but has scored well on some of the smaller circuits. He's only started 6 horses here. Diego Herrera, who came up at Los Alamitos, so he's kind of a dirt speed rider in the mold of, say, Ricardo Gonzalez and Edwin Maldonado, and these guys that just like break them out of the gate, is a surprisingly decent turf rider. And he hasn't shown at this meet, only 4% lately, but I think Diego Herrera has turf abilities that outshine his numbers. He's not in a class with Ricky Gonzalez yet. I think he can get there. Patron d'Oro was only 2 lengths, 1 3/4 lengths, excuse me, off of Yellow Card. And if you look back at the last 2 races he ran over Del Mar, those races at 5 furlongs, 93 and 95 bris figures respectively against cheaper, and both victories, both under Diego Herrera. And what I like about Patron d'Oro is this is third off a layoff. And typically, when you analyze the form cycle, third off a layoff is often a horse's best. If you look at Yellow Card, that was his first race off a long layoff, and it is not uncommon for someone like Yellow Card that's just had that one race off that long layoff to bounce. So even though he's capable of cycling back to that 102 figure, he might not do it on Saturday. That 90 figure he had was pretty good, but he might not hit the 90 if he bounces. It might be more like an 85. I think there's room for Patron d'Oro to improve and turn the tables on him.
All right, how are we going to play it?
Well, we're going to play an exacta here, Steve. It's yeah, there is an exacta wheel on all of them, plus the trifecta box in the British race. But yeah, 12 to 1, I can't not play a wheel exacta. Normally, I try to give it more trifectas, but these plays just justify the dollar exacta. So it's 6 with all and all with 6, and a nice win and place bet on number 6, Patron d'Oro.
All right, Jay, let's hope we get lucky and bring one of these babies home.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve, let's talk a little bit about weeks to come because next week is the Pacific Classic. This meet will be winding down. So the every week format will be coming to a close. We won't be doing them. This is the biggest part of the season, Del Mar and Saratoga. So as we've discussed, we'll be cutting these down a little bit. We won't expect to do much in terms of Los Alamitos, but there's definitely some races you can look forward to. You have the big Breeders' Cup Preview Day at Santa Anita, and that comes up on September. Where does that come up? Hang on a second. I'm going to tell you. I got it in front of me right here. The That race is. Uh, don't go anywhere. Hey, we don't have radio time we've got to worry about here. It's on September 27th, so that's a month away. We'll definitely be doing one the week before that, or the few days before that, and who knows, we might do one in between. We'll obviously be doing one before the Breeders' Cup, and probably one in between those two. But we will be cutting them down a little bit. But kind of looking forward to recharging our batteries and just gearing up for the big races.
Absolutely, Jay. That sounds great. And I'm looking forward to next week. Pacific Classic should be a very, very good race. And I think the undercard will really be the highlight where the good betting is going to be. The Pacific Classic itself, obviously the California has got two top horses. The older horse Nisos is going to be facing Journalism. I think it'll be very good to see Journalism on a fast track. Since we're 6 or 7 days before the draw. They might even do the draw earlier in the week on that race. And I think they've been making a big deal about that, maybe a Tuesday or Wednesday. But I think it's important to draw outside at Del Mar. I will say that. I think it'll be a big advantage. Watch that, folks. The 1 or 2 draw is not necessarily where you want to be, even with a horse. I think those 2 horses are going to be quite a bit better than the others in the race. I don't know who else is planning on running. There's a couple horses that I know are under consideration, but I don't know of anybody that's definite. But I know those 2 should be in there, and I think the draw will be important. I would prefer of either of those 2 to be outside the other one.
Yeah, Steve, I can tell you a couple of things. White Barrio is now White Barrio was announced as coming out here most likely for the Pacific Classic. At this point, it looks like he is not. It looks like he is leaning towards staying on the East Coast and not shipping and facing Sierra Leone and Mindframe in the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
That's disappointing.
Yeah. So
That's really
it's I
disappointing.
think it's like 75-25 that they're going to go that way. Beza was mentioned as a possibility if Journalism goes, but right now Journalism it seems like there's a good chance he will go, and it looks like with Beza they're going to go in the Grade 1 Pennsylvania Derby.
No, Beza's always going to go if Journalism doesn't go.
Yeah, and that's going to be close, but I think even if Journalism goes at this point, I think they've got to be thinking, wow, $1.5 million purse. I only have to face 3-year-olds. I have to think Beza is more likely for the Pennsylvania Derby. As
Yeah,
far
and what 3-year-old would he have to face? I mean, the top 2 are both running.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, I think I mean, it seems like a pretty easy decision for them to make.
Yeah, and as far as Journalism goes, now they have 2 races under consideration. Obviously, it's not the Travers. He is not going to be shipping and being a last minute entry. I think those entries are already drawn. But they are looking at both the Pacific Classic and they're looking at the Goodwood. Just wanted to mention something about the Goodwood. Last year, that was renamed the California Crown. They came up with $1 million. Steve, it turns out that they weren't quite able to hook up with the same sponsors to put money in the race. Steve, I think you and I, in our post-radio career, have found something a little bit about how difficult it is to hook up with those sponsors, isn't it?
So that race is no longer going to be $1 million anymore.
No, it because they couldn't line up the sponsors this year. It is back to being the plain old Goodwood, and it's likely going to be what Grade One's it's intending to go for, which is
$300,000.
300 to 400,000.
Yeah.
So I think one thing they're looking at is they're looking at both races for Journalism, but they like the idea that that one is spaced 4 weeks apart. It's like the perfect timing. That's why that big Breeders' Cup prep card is on that day because it lines up perfectly with the Breeders' Cup. Otherwise, it would be on some other day. So it's possible that Journalism could go in the Pacific Classic and go in the Goodwood. It's also possible he'll only go in one. I know they're going to do what's best for the horse, Steve. I think it's kind of like the way I look at it is like with Zenyatta. If you remember, Zenyatta had chances. Rachel Alexandra was going against older males in the Woodward, and they said, "Look, we're not going a mile and a quarter of the Breeders' Cup. You want us? Come get us." And of course, they decided their goal was to win the Breeders' Cup Classic, and they assumed if they got that done, they'd get Horse of the Year. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way, but Zenyatta still had a perfectly fine career without winning, and she won it the following year. So, I think right now what they're going to do with Journalism is what's the best path to get us to win that Breeders' Cup Classic. I think that's the number one thing on their mind, and we're going to see what they come up with. But I think it'd be cool to see Journalism in both races.
Hmm. I mean, I want him to have his best chance in the Breeders' Cup Classic, and I think the less that he runs, the better. Had a very tough campaign this year, no matter what anybody says. Races do take toll on horses. So he runs in the Pacific Classic, and then he runs in the Goodwood, and then he runs in the Breeders' Cup Classic. It's very tough to keep going and keep running good. You've always got that possibility of taking a backward step, which this horse really hasn't done. But I really want to see him get a fast track and get a chance Because he's been running on these off tracks and getting beat. It's not the same on a fast track. I really like to see what this horse can do on a fast track and have a chance against the champ right now. I don't know. I'd like to see less than more.
Yeah, I really do think that one of the two would be better, and we'll see which way they decide to go. But just from a selfish standpoint, if they do just go with one, I sure hope it's next week for the Pacific Classic, and you get to cover it, Steve. So I'm rooting for you.
Yeah, and will he be able to beat Nisos? I mean, Nisos hasn't gone that far, but he's one heck of a fast horse. And he was all bottled up last time on the inside, which is not where you want to be on this track. But he still was able to get the job done. Those were much lesser horses for sure. But he's a very fast horse and got a lot of talent. He's only been beaten one time. We thought this horse was going to be something really special, and maybe he still can be. So that's a heck of a matchup. I could see a -110 right now in my mind as to which one's going to beat the other horse, much less beating the field. Those two horses against each other is a great matchup. I think those horses are going to be very competitive together.
Absolutely. Well, Steve, looking forward to your coverage and your analysis with your expertise of Del Mar that is matched by very few handicappers. So glad you're getting a chance to take the lead on that one. And that will be our show next Thursday. So let's look forward to that.
All right, everybody have a great one out there. Thanks, Jay. And we'll look forward to talking to everybody next week.
All right. Thanks, Steve. And that is our show for the day. And of course, my question is, can I find the stop button before we take up a whole minute here? Have a great weekend. It should be a beautiful weekend to get out there. It's going to be hot as heck. You
It
can't
is.
think of a better time to go where the turf meets the surf.
Yeah, well, we got a big wedding to go to on Saturday, and I can't get out of it. I'm gonna be missing the Travers will be running right when the wedding is going on. And I literally can't miss this wedding. It's my son's best friend, and I am my son's in the wedding too. Yeah, my wife is yelling to me, "Your son's in the wedding." I don't care he's in the wedding. My dad didn't come to weddings that I was in.
Yeah.
Come on.
Steve, all I can say is that's why they invented smartphones. Have a great time, and we'll see everybody next Thursday night.
All right, take care.